Okay, so following on what we did before, we're going to be looking at creating a structure for our assignment. So we can handwrite this out, it doesn't need to be typed. So in the last one, looking at interpreting command words, we created a document that looks something like this. We used the assignment from the leadership, Principles of Leadership module, and we broke down each individual command word so we could try and see what each one actually means. But this is still not a structure for our assignment. So we're going to use this information to turn it into a structure. So the first thing we see is this area here. Now that to me looks like it could be a very good introduction to the assignment. So it's a little explanation about what is a leader. That to me looks like a good introduction. So if I'm creating a structure, I might then put a few little bullet points down so I know what to write. So here you can see I've got it. This is the introduction. I've introduced that it's going to be a report on leadership. I'm going to have 2 quotes on what is leadership, because remember it's an academic assignment, so we need some academic rigour in there. So some properly referenced academic sources, not just the dictionary describes a leader as, or if you look at this pointless blog page, etc. But also, as well as I say many times before, you need to come up with your own conclusion. It's no point just copying stuff down, you won't get the higher grade. So coming up with your own conclusion is what might help you to come up with a higher grade. So that's my introduction. So I go back to my other sheet. Next I'm going to look at this section here, the difference between a leader and a manager. So once again, as we said in class, we created a little statement, leadership is whereas management is. And all the research we did for that isn't wasted, this can go in our assignment. So my next heading might look like this. So there I've got the heading, difference between leaders and managers. I've got a little introductory sentence to say what this little section's about. Then I'm going to have a statement or a quote what manager is. I've already introduced the leader earlier in my introduction, so I don't need to do it again. Then I've got my own statement, you know, leadership is whereas management is. And then once again, that'd only get me the pass. I need to justify why I say that. That's for the higher grades. So that'd be that chapter done. So I've done there's 2 sections of 1.2 now. Next I'm going to go on to 1.1, so it's analyse the characteristics of an effective leader. So once again, here we researched 5 different sources. That's a nice bit of research, is that? So we want it in our assignment. It really shows our academic rigour. So this chapter might look a bit like this. So once again, it's an introductory sentence. Then we use our 5 different sources to create that big list. And with that big list, we're going to boil it down to our own between 8 and 12 list characteristics to create our own little list. Once again, boiling it down shows analysis. If you keep everything, do you really know what it is? Do you really understand it? So by cutting out the rubbish or the things that's duplicated, it really shows you know what you're doing. So by creating that little list yourself, it really helps you look at the characteristics of an effective leader. You might want to put a few notes on there as well, why you chose that and not that, etc. for the higher grades. Next we're going to analyse our own leadership skills. So same again, we did a gap analysis, so that would go straight into our assignment. So it might look like this. So own leadership skills, introductory sentence. You know, don't just whack the gap analysis in there, tell me. Okay, now I will use the list created in the previous chapter to create a skills gap analysis. Put it in there, but you can't use your hand-drawn one, you're going to have to do it. Remember once again, for that higher grade you have to justify why you scored the ones you did. So we are using this document to try and create our structure.